In this video, we're going to go over the mean value theorem. Before we begin, let's first go over some vocab. The tangent line, as you should already know, is a line that intersects through one point on the graph. So we start with the graph right here. We can choose any point, and if we draw a line, it should only go through one point on this graph. And on the secant line, this can be two or more points. So if we take the same graph that we had over here, we can choose 2 points this time and draw a line through it. That's the secant line for these 2 points. We can also have a graph like this where we have 3 intersection points, right? We choose this and this point and this point as a reference point and draw a line through that. We can also call that our secant line. So to put things simply, the tangent line intersects at 1 point and the secant line intersects at 2 or more. Now that we've covered that, let's actually dive into what the mean value theorem is. So there are a few ways to explain what this theorem is, but the exact version is that if we have some interval between x equals a and x equals b, and it's differentiable, and by the way, differentiable implies that it's continuous, so if it's differentiable and continuous on some function f of x, then we know that there is at least one point c, x equals c, within a to b, the interval a to b, where the tangent line is parallel to the secant line. So that's a lot of information taken at once, but if we show it on a graph, it should be easier. So what the mean value theorem means is if we have some interval between x equals a and x equals b, right? We have 2 points a and b on the f of x graph, which we are given that it's differentiable and continuous within the interval. Then we know that we're going to have some x value of c where the tangent line is going to be parallel to the secant line, right? So let me say that again. If we have a point A and point B on f of x that we know is differentiable and continuous, if we draw a straight line through those points, then we know that there's going to be another parallel line that only goes through one point. In other words, that's the tangent line. So from this, we can kind of pull that if we have 2 parallel lines, right, what does that tell us about the slopes? We know that the slopes are equal. So if you've watched the previous video, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. We can use the fact that parallel lines have equal slopes to find the mean value theorem. So we set IROC equal to AROC, instantaneous rate of change equal to average rate of change. And these are basically finding the slopes of both lines. So IROC can be expressed as f prime at some value, right? Just the derivative at some point, which in this case is c. And we set that equal to average rate of change, which can be expressed as change in y over change in x. And in this case, we're using this form, which is f of b minus f of a over b minus a, and that gives us the same thing. Another form that we are given is f prime of c times b minus a. So we just took this b minus a and multiplied it to both sides, right? So f prime of c times b minus a equals f of b minus f of a. In my opinion, I think this first form is all you have to know. As long as you have that that understanding of IROC equal to AROC down, you don't have to memorize this part. So let me just recap real quick. If I zoom out, again, we have these 2 parallel lines, and we know that because they're parallel, the slopes are going to be the same. The IROC, which can be expressed as f prime of c, instantaneous rate of change, in other words, 1 instant. So that we can use to find the tangent line. The slope of the tangent line equals AROC, average rate of change, which is the slope between 2 points, which is expressed as the secant line, We know that they're parallel, so we can compare the two slopes together. And when we convert it to numerical form, this is what it comes out to. That's all for the mean value theorem. Math is best learned through examples, so I would go click on another video for examples of the mean value theorem being used. But other than that, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments.